Hello and welcome to Dicey Deep Dive, a This Could Get Dicey talkback episode where your favorite group of buds gets to unwind from their D&D podcast to dive into the latest happenings and answer questions from listeners like you all here today with us. This is Dicey Deep Dive number 7. Today we are recapping our Ursa Anore arc. This is episodes 44 through 59 of our first campaign. It's our 7th one, y'all. You know how it goes here at the beginning of a recap episode.
You got a game for us?
I've got trivia for you.
Oh.
Let's lock in.
At the time of recording this DD&D, we are into the 70s in terms of recording episodes. And so I had to kind of go back through the annals of history. And I have some good trivia for you. This trivia is going to help you remember what happened in this arc, the three of you, and the listener as well. Okay, so this is just classic trivia. Y'all ready?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, who goes unconscious in the Wendigo fight? Alex, you won the trivia last time, so you get the advantage of hearing Becky and Destiny's answers first.
I think Emil went unconscious.
All right.
I think Loomis went unconscious.
Okay.
I believe that it was I that went unconscious.
All right. Wow, 3 different answers. Becky and Alex both get half of a point. The correct answer is Emil and Ellis both go unconscious in that fight. Loomis gets close but does not. Helena comes in and saves the day. Good fight. The very first episode. Yeah.
Interesting. Helena saved Loomis. Interesting.
Loomis completely forgot about that.
He chose to ignore that.
That's better. Yeah, he chose to ignore that.
We'll get to that later in the episode. Second question. Speaking of Helena, what weapon does she wield? Becky should know this one.
I should.
Don't pull up her character sheet.
It's an axe.
Okay. Destiny, what do you think?
An axe and a shield.
Definitely a shield. I thought it was like a great sword.
Okay. I hear greatsword. I hear axe. Alex?
I think it's a long sword.
3 different answers once again. Well, y'all should have listened to Becky. Becky's correct.
It makes sense.
You get the point. Becky. She has an axe.
I thought she was trying to trick us.
And her that would be
trying to
savage.
win.
That'd be sick.
I'm trying to win.
She in our first fight, she misses with her axe, but hits with the shield bash a couple of times. So shout out Helena. There's a character who lives in Oak Pines. His name is Elder Swanvi. What kind of vegetable is he?
He's a garlic bulb, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, maybe Becky should be answering last. Destiny, what do you think?
I was gonna say mushroom.
Okay, Alex, what do you think?
I was thinking garlic bulb.
He's a garlic bulb, Alex and Becky. Great job. Both of you take a point. I'm not keeping track. I hope you are.
I'm at 2.5 points.
Yeah, I'm at 1.5.
Okay. Destiny, where are you at for the audience?
0.
Question, Destiny, you answer first this time. Who gets the killing blow on the Boreal Dragon?
Oh, wasn't it Loomis? Didn't I tickle it to death?
Oh, it's up to you. What do you
That's
think?
my answer.
Okay, Becky, what do you think?
Wasn't it Ellis?
All right. Alex, what do you think?
I'm going to say Loomis.
The answer is Loomis. He tickles it to death.
Oh.
It's the name of the episode, Tickled to Death.
Oh.
Great job. Destiny's on the board.
I remember it falling on you, Emil.
Yes.
It did fall.
Yes, it did fall
Yep.
on you.
Okay, now we're in Ursa Anore. Just a few more questions here. What is Gustav Flint's job?
Isn't he the baker?
He's the baker.
He's the baker.
Easy question. Points for everyone.
Wow.
You're on the board, Loomis. Oh,
Good
no,
job.
you're on
I have
the board.
2 points now.
2 points now.
Harder question.
Becky and I are tied.
Maybe this is kind of this is favoriting Becky, but who cares? Who is Emil's dad? Destiny, you go first. This one's a deep cut.
It's not Dade.
No, fuck that guy.
I don't. Pass.
You're not my dad. Okay, pass for Destiny.
Was
Alex?
he on the Council of Vinzor?
Nope.
I don't remember his name, but he was a flower salesman in Venzor.
I'll give you half a point for that, Becky. His name is Edward. He's a flower cart guy. You're
Flower
right
cart
about that.
Yeah.
Okay, last series of questions here. These are so I don't know if you know this, but on some streaming platforms, they will take our show and auto-generate chapter titles. And so what I do is every time I publish an episode, I go look at those chapter titles and I change the names of any of them that I'm like, it just feels like inappropriate or something. I've been writing down some of the ones that I liked a lot. I thought were really funny, or just like good for a trivia game. I'm going to read a series of chapter titles. You're going to decide if it's something that AI generated or if I just made it up just now.
Okay.
Good game. Very good game.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, here's the first one. This chapter title, the whole thing. Do you miss cleaning groceries with bleach?
That's true.
Is that
That's so
real,
true.
or something is that one that was AI generated or that I made up just now?
AI generated.
That was AI generated because
AI
that's what
generated.
Becky talked about when we were lamenting about the joys of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Very good. Everyone take a point. Do you miss cleaning groceries? It was just a whole ass sentence, which I really liked. Okay, here's another one. The observant stepson.
That's a Kenny one.
I think that's Kenny.
Yeah, that's too good. It's Kenny.
That's a real one.
Oh.
Observant stepson. I don't know what it's in reference to.
That was
But-
a little worried it might have been AI because I'm like, who's the stepson? When was
Yeah,
the
I don't
stepson
know.
ever mentioned?
There isn't a stepson, right? Anyway, I don't know what that is, but that was one of the chapter titles, and I was like, what is this? What are they talking about? Okay, next one. The lifelong quest for solitude.
Kenny generated.
I think Kenny generated too.
I'm going to say AI generated.
Alex gets a point. That's an
Damn.
AI generated chapter title.
Damn it!
Again,
I squeeze ahead.
don't know what it's in reference to, but that's one part of our show somewhere.
I think that's something I said at some point. It feels like something that would have come out of my mouth.
All right, here's the next one. Kendrick Lamar's Legos.
AI generated.
It's AI generated.
Kenny generated.
Destiny, you get a point. I made that one up.
Uh,
I don't
This is
remember
a good
ever talking
game.
about Kendrick. on
I
the
don't either.
podcast.
I also don't
we never
remember
talked
it.
about stepsons either, but that showed up.
This is just to show all you listeners out there, don't listen to any AI stuff, okay? Here's the next one. I enjoyed this so much. All of these, I mean, not this one in particular. The next one is Drake's boob job.
It sounds so familiar, like an old friend whispering in the back of my mind. Which I'm just gonna go with my gut. I think it's AI generated.
Same.
Same.
That is AI generated.
Interesting.
Somehow it's in our show. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, that's it. Okay. Loomis's wild experiences.
Kenny generated.
I think that's Kenny generated.
What?
That's the name of Loomis's porn movie. That's a Kenny generated.
No, that's a real one. They all that one's straight from the Spotify AI.
It's gonna haunt me that we don't know like what the references to. These,
I'm not
these
gonna go back
moments
and
are.
look.
No, not at all.
Some eagle-eared fan can tell us. Here's the next one. Emil's Big Bread.
AI generated.
How many more of these do we have, Kenny?
3. No,
Okay,
sorry.
cool.
Wait. After this one, we have 3 more total. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna just to add a little fuel to the fire. I'm gonna say it's a Kenny one.
I was gonna say Kenny as well.
I made that one up.
Damn it.
I was eating bread when I wrote
it. It had big you eating bread vibes.
it. Yeah, absolutely. Big gluten fan. Okay. This one is Ellis's old lady companion.
AI generated.
Kenny generated.
I generated that one.
Yes.
Okay.
That's for me, Becky. Take a point.
Okay.
Okay, 2 more.
I'm up by half. By a field goal.
Wait, what? You have 6.5?
I just know. I don't know where Destiny's at. I know where
I'm
you and
behind. I
the
stopped
difference
counting.
between
That's
you
okay.
and I.
I'm at, I think 6. You're at 6.5 then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someday, we'll all look back at this moment and wonder, where do you go when you die? I'll say it again. Someday, we'll all look back at this moment and wonder, where do you go when you die?
AI generated.
I feel that's AI generated for sure.
Agreed.
That one is AI generated.
Okay.
The whole fucking thing. All right, last one. Hot animal grooming.
As in P as in Peter, O as in Oscar, T as in Terrace, pot.
Hot.
Oh,
Hot,
hot.
as in
H,
hot to
H as
go.
in Horace.
Hot animal grooming.
I hope AI generated.
I have a lot of animals.
I'm gonna go with my gut, as I always have. Every decision I've ever made in my life, factual. This is Kenny's.
I wanted to say Kenny as well.
Destiny, you take the point here. That's an AI generated
Dang.
title. I don't know what it's from. Anyway, that's been a really fun thing to track how silly these chapter titles are, and just to show how silly our show is, I guess.
Excellent game.
Excellent game.
All right, let's get into some questions about this arc. So this arc covers everything from the moment we teleported away from Venzor,
Venzor, yeah.
trying to go north to Ursa Anore, and we ended up in the Patchwork Forest. So episodes 44 through 59, and it's everything up until we teleport out of the town square in Ursa Anore. Obviously, spoilers ahead. If I didn't say that already, big spoilers ahead.
It'd be crazy if you're listening to this episode before listening to the
What?
episode.
If this is your
There's
first
gonna be
episode.
Spoilers.
Okay. This is a question for the 3 player characters. Hey, what did y'all think of Helena? Because there was a lot of skepticism, and still is. Becky's got a very triumphant face on with this question coming in.
Thank you to the listener who submitted this. I hope you're a big fan of Helena.
When we first met Helena, I wasn't getting big join the party vibes. And I think Ellis Ellis might have been a voice of like, wait, do we really want like Helena to like walk around with us like from now on? And I know that kind of wasn't given later, but like I kind of just saw Helena as like, hi, you've landed in a random forest. I am your guide to the next like objective. And then it would be like, bye, Helena. And obviously she was that. And then she was like, and now I am here. But yeah, that was like the kind of first vibe I got from Helena, other than being cool and strong and stuff.
Me as a person, Destiny really enjoys Helena, and I think she provides like a weird sort of comedic relief to a already kind of quirky group, which is odd to say. It is very clear Loomis does not like her, but doesn't really have a reason to. But yeah, no, I agree with Alex that I definitely thought she was the NPC that came in a forest when we needed her, and I didn't realize she was gonna stick with us, but I'm glad she's here.
I think I was dealing with some main character syndrome because I was I was like looking for any connection to anything as soon as we tried to teleport to Ursa Anore, and she came in with that like giant tree on her chest, and I was like, she is important. She matters. Little did I know there was another god that was a different thing that meant that the tree stood for. But yeah, no, same. I didn't think she was gonna be around for long. But also, what's nice is that she kind of brought out the like mistrust factor, which ended up being a bigger deal for us characters later on.
Yeah.
Becky, question for you: did you have any specific inspiration for Helena?
I did. Probably the biggest inspiration is Dame Aelin from Baldur's Gate 3.
Nice.
Who's a character that's like locked away for 100 years, while like a bunch of crap happens in the game, or like in the lore of the game. And so I really like this idea of like, there's like a person who like comes back and is just like, I'm still talking like they did 100 years ago, and like I still have the energy of someone from 100 years ago. And so I really like that idea of someone who's been kind of like wandering and protecting in a different kind of mindset than sort of like modern time characters. So like that was a big inspiration. And Dame Aelin is the god of is a child of a god. That's not the case with Helena, but like being like the champion of a god, I thought was an interesting add to her character.
Did you for sure want like a champion of this particular god of Siluria, like in the game? Because we hadn't talked about Siluria too much before that.
I guess like the next inspiration would be like the Green Knight of like, which I haven't even watched the movie, so, but like of like the Round Table era Arthurian legends, but like Knight of the Woods kind of thing, and so it just sort of made sense to then be like champion of Siluria, who's the like nature god and stuff like that.
I think when Helena got drunk, it was the most that was the most that Dame Aelin came out, because like Dame Aelin can be like very blunt,
like super horny, like, right? Isn't Dame Aelin
yeah, just like
crazy?
Oh,
horny?
yeah.
Like
yeah.
Oh yeah, like now we like to like like her partner is always just like, now we will go have sex.
Yeah.
And seeing Helena be like really blunt when she got drunk, I was like, there's Dame Aelin.
Yeah.
That's very good. Well, we love Helena. She's in for the long haul.
Yeah, I wasn't intending for her to you know, be here for as many episodes as she has been. It kind of just happened. So that's on y'all.
Hey,
I'm glad we had some agency because she's been great.
I think if I remember correctly, which we might get to, but during like the big climax of Ursa Anore, I think Ellis was, because I think Ellis is Helena's biggest fan currently. But at the time when she was getting dragged through the street, Ellis was like, we should this is like a perfect scapegoat to ditch and like get out of here scot-free. And it was actually, I think it was mostly Emil that was just like, no, that's like crazy. And I was just like, oh, okay.
What's crazy is that's the only reason I said that was because she came in all glowy and huge. Do you remember? Yeah. Because we had like mentioned Diana Littlespin to her, who she had killed 1,000 years ago, and the plant. And I was like, oh, clearly there's more here. It would be a shame to like leave her behind. And maybe she's more powerful now, so that would be sick. Yeah, I was afraid she was going to be like unreachable, that she was going to be like in the Avatar state or something, you know, like, and we couldn't talk to her. But yeah, no, she's just in a calm, glowy state now, permanently, I think, which is awesome.
Just Super Saiyan.
Okay, heading into Ursa Anore, though, someone asked, Destiny and Alex, can you talk through Ellis's and Loomis's mindset going into Ursa Anore? Because it was mostly a thing you were doing, like the two of you were going there for a meal. So where were your characters' heads at going into the city? What were you getting out of it? Why go?
I think some of this was like kind of covered in like Ellis's little therapy outburst, but I think ultimately like he was just kind of like, he saw that he was like on, even though it wasn't his like big journey and it wasn't like for him, that like something big was brewing, like, and even though it was like for a meal, he was just like halfway between like genuinely just like kind of happy to be there and to be a part of something, while also with the realization with being like, this doesn't fucking at like kind of this moment in time, it's just like, this kind of doesn't fucking affect me at all.
Yeah, similar for Loomis. I think it was just kind of like he went about it of like, I have nothing better to do, but also without saying it, really enjoyed everyone's company, because he's kind of been by himself for a bit and like liked adventuring with the two of you. But yeah, it was definitely more like going along for the ride and the vibes to see what can happen. And a lot happened.
Yeah, I kind of like how dynamic Ursa Anore was, even though there wasn't a lot of like action until the end of that arc. Well, there was action in the beginning. I would say the arc was bookended by action, but I think that still a lot of change happened over the course of that. Becky, a question about that: were you expecting so much story development to happen in Ursa Anore?
Yes. Yeah, I think going into Ursa Anore, I was like, this is going to be like a really big, like, lots of lore information is going to come out, and a lot of stuff around, like, the Drees blood's going to come out. So I definitely intended it to be like a big, like, not like turning point, I guess, but a big point in the campaign.
And then someone also asked, so a lot of story happened here, which was clearly planned and premeditated. Did anything surprise you in this arc?
Actually, the thing that surprised me the most still was Emil's reaction to meeting his mom. I had no idea how that would go. I guess I never expected for Emil to be like so angry about it going into that conversation. So like that really caught me off guard and like surprised me a lot. Just because you have no idea how anyone's going to react to like, you have this person abandoned you decades ago. So, it was hard to know. So that one caught me off guard and like really surprised me in like a good way. Like I think your reaction, Kenny, as Emil was like natural.
It was, because I also was not expecting to be angry. But I think as Emil, I was thinking that Emil had this picture of coming into Ursa Anore and like having built himself up as a successful businessman and like looking down on this parent who had abandoned, and coming in and being like, I'm so successful. But here she is as like the leader of a community. She's got a thriving group of people who were like relying on her. And I think that was like probably some jealousy or, something inherent in that regard. But yeah, I was surprised as well to be angry in that moment. I didn't expect it.
It seemed like a natural reaction to be like almost like you were, whether you were trying to, it was more like you were trying to convince yourself, like Emil, I turned out better without you there. And like, I need you to hear that, whether or not it's true or not. Like, it was very powerful.
Someone said, this is not a question, but they just said, Becky and Kenny once again in high emotion territory as family members. So yeah,
I guess so. Yeah, we're getting good at it. Hopefully.
I liked your reaction to just end the episode.
Oh, like when it was first like, I'm your mom, end of episode.
I think it was like, I said something along the lines of like, you can tell me what it was like to like abandon a child or something, and I said it in like really angry tone, and you were like, and that's where we'll end the episode.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how to answer that. Goodbye, everybody.
You GMs out there, that's how you do it.
Yeah, that was like, because again, not knowing like how Kenny was gonna react, like there's no way to walk into that conversation as a GM and be like, let me write out everything, if they're happy, if they're angry, if they're sad, if there's like a middle ground. So it was like, let's get a taste of where he stands, and then we'll go from there. And I was like, okay, cool, let's end it there.
Becky just gets to play all the like traumatic female characters in my characters' lives.
Yeah.
Or live through all the like traumatic moments with me. Someone asked if that makes us uncomfortable. She said specifically all of you, Destiny, Alex, Becky Kenny? Does it make you uncomfortable when Becky and Kenny are arguing like that, like we have in a couple of episodes?
Never.
No.
I agree. I feel pretty safe.
Yeah, I feel good. We've known each
Yeah.
other for so long.
Yeah. And Becky and I had checked in with me before we even recorded that
Yes,
episode.
that's true too.
So
Yeah, we were like, "Where are you at?"
we got safety measures in place.
Yeah.
Which, if you're not using those in your home games, please do. Please take care of each other. It's just a game. Okay, so we're in Ursa Anore. Becky, someone wants to know, kind of similar to we asked about Helena, can you just do like a little mood board for us for Ursa Anore? Where did the inspiration come from? What's the vibe?
I knew I wanted like a longhouse in Ursa Anore, which is sort of in both in like Nordic and like Viking cultures as well as in like Native American cultures, more specifically in like the North American Native American cultures, where it's like very communal of like we have a big long house in which like we eat dinners here and we like it's just like a big community space, and so I knew I wanted it to be a very like community driven city or town. I guess it's not as large as like other cities in the continent, and so that was definitely like my big inspiration behind the town, was just like we'll start at this building and kind of like build it out from there. But yeah, I probably like visually was like, imagining probably from like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where like there's the big where they like literally would take like the long ships and like flip them upside down and then turn them into like a long house. So
that's cool.
I was imagining like visually from The Last of Us. Granted, I've only watched the TV show, but like the town that they go in towards the end of the season.
Jackson?
Yes. That's
I like
where
in my mind.
I like that for the weather too.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cold, hard place. Yeah. In Ursa Anore, someone asked, can you talk about the decision to make Maria a power figure? Was it always going to be like that? Was she always going to be someone like of high status in this city? Is that an intentional move?
I don't think it was like always my intention for her to be of high status. I knew that I wanted her to be kind of involved with the like a Torum plot. However, I also knew I didn't want her to be like a cleric of a Torum or anything like that. But I did imagine like she's been there for a long time, and so naturally like someone who's been there for a long time and is of Dries blood would probably like naturally kind of like surface as like a leader in the community after like so much time. So that's kind of where I went, or like what my thought process was behind that. And then I knew I wanted her. When I started like piecing together like, okay, she was like a healer as like her kind of like original job back in like Venzor, then I think it naturally like that was like another thing that would just make her a leader within the town. Like if you're a healer and you have Dries blood and then other people with Dries blood are coming to you for healing assumably or like some sort of solution, that people would just keep looking to you.
I found it very fun to play with, that she wasn't just like a citizen in this town. I thought it opened up a lot of doors, and like if we're gonna open up the world a little bit to like include Dries blood as like a people, an established group of people, I would rather have interacted with someone who has like a lot of power in that regard, and like I think it just opens more doors, and like it's better to just like we're here to get answers, and so like it was nice to get some answers, and then like to also get some more questions in terms of like the Atorum stuff, and then also some like moral questions around like, do we just fuck up this basement real quick? Like, is my mom gonna have to die? All this like all these kinds of things. I thought her being this like leader of the community was a great choice.
I'm it wasn't obviously like it made it for a more like difficult choice of whether or not to like kind of fuck up their whole community and stuff in like one fell swoop, but like it almost gave off the vibe that like Maria was like more of like the leader of like the community and the people, like the people looked at Maria, while like Dade almost was like the elected official, like he was like policy, and like Maria like and everybody was like, yeah, those two are in charge, but like if we need to talk to anybody, we'll go talk to Maria, because like Maria will like hear us and listen to us, and Maria is like helping out and shit. We obviously didn't spend a lot of like personal time with him, so that, you know, Dade could have been a super swell guy and everybody loved him, but like that was just like kind of the vibe that gave off.
Yeah, and I think with the Atorum plot being like mixed into there of like, I knew that the Dreesplit had to fit into there of like, well, why would the Atorum people and the Dreesplit people be like kind of mingling together? And if Maria was kind of just some person who had Dreesplit in this town, then she becomes like pretty powerless, and I feel like that's a harder argument as a GM to be like, no, there is some sort of like mutual like or like parasitic kind of relationship happening here, versus if it was like we don't know someone who's a Dreesplit who's in power, then it kind of automatically like pushes them like really down in the like class system of like the town. So I think it was like important for somebody with Dreesplit to have some sort of standing in the town.
Speaking of the Atorum plotline, someone said, a huge villain reveal in this arc. Players, was this something you were looking for here? And what was your reaction to learning about Atorum?
It was like, obviously it was just like, oh yes, like big bad, but like I feel like in a lot of stories like the big bad is like really clear, and at least like there's like oh, here's a picture or a book or you know, just something like very clear info. But it was just like we learned of Atorum, and it was still just this like unknown entity, and we didn't like, obviously Emil's the only one that's ever like seen Atorum, and like we've learned more about Atorum kind of post Ursa Anore, but it was just kind of like this big scary like X of just like no idea who this like creature like kind of really is. And like it was a great way to make at least Ellis feel like we are so far in over our own heads. Like this seems like this isn't just some like evil baron that's like being mean across the countryside. It's just like there's a who in the middle of the what, like like what are we doing?
Yeah, there was like so much conflict about coming in, about like discovering more about Dreesplit, and then it was like, not that it was overshadowed, because that still was a very interesting and compelling story for Emil to see like, oh, these people are just living regular lives, they're fine with being Dreesplit, and it's like not a bad thing. But then to like be given a big story and like kind of be introduced to like what I feel like is going to be like the big ultimate arc of this campaign, made Emil feel so insignificant, which is a really good thing, I think, for characters who have had quite a bit of development.
Yeah, I feel like it was interesting to meet a lot of players in Atorum's camp before even learning of the name. And I think that was cool to just be like starting to put the pieces together. And that like everything was intentional. So good job, Becky. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, but it's cool to see of just like, yeah, there's this big bad, huge question mark, you know, what does that mean? But also like his minions are just as scary along the way.
Speaking of his minions, Destiny, someone asked, how do you feel now that you know Loomis's past with Avondale?
This was actually something like Becky and I talked a lot about on how to go a lot on like how to go about it. And like I feel like one of the first questions Becky asked was like, do you care who turned you? And I was like, not necessarily. I was like, I feel for Loomis, it's more of just like, it's been so long, like who gives a fuck? Like that is not part of Loomis's journey right now. Like it's happened. Why like linger in the past? But turns out Loomis's past is quite large.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Becky and I talked about it a lot of like, oh, should we go this way? Should we do that? like, how about this? Like, how would you find out? Like, what if you're a part of this? So it was a lot of back and forth. So like like Becky came up with the idea like this, that I was going to be, or Loomis's past was going to be a part of this war, but like I didn't know how it was really going to come about in the campaign.
Were you expecting it in this arc, like to discover in Ursa Anore what was going on?
No, when we first got there, no. But as we got closer to like, learning more things and then talks about of God, I was like, I wonder.
Oh yeah, and Natasha was like eyeing you and stuff.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I felt like once we met Natasha, I was like, wait a minute, I bet she has something for me here.
I/Ellis remember feel like it's like, okay, we're here for the like for Kenny, and you know,
Yeah,
it's like we're here for a meal. We're here to do this. Okay, cool. It's like, oh fuck, the big bad. It's been revealed, and then like Avondale and like Loomis, like Loomis's whole like story gets revealed, and I remember being like, but this too, like I was just like, I'm like, am I gonna find like my long lost twin brother here or something? Like,
just Barbara.
You met Barbara. Big story moment for you. You got a new instrument.
absolutely.
Okay, wrapping up here. Couple last questions. Talk about the ending of the arc. It was a very climactic ending, and abrupt, with, the basement, and Emil and Maria's last conversation, and then the like whole scene in the square. Recap the events, Becky, for us, and then let's just talk about that ending.
Well, yeah. So there was so much like Emil's gonna go talk to these people, and that leaves like Loomis and Ellis alone, and then Loomis and Ellis are gonna go do something, and then like what's going on with Emil. And I remember we like ended one of the episodes, and you all had been like, maybe we should go break into Dade and Maria's house and go do this thing. And then Ellis and Loomis were like, no, we're not gonna do it. And then the next episode, I was like, okay, so like this is what's happening, and you guys were like, wait, we're gonna go break into Maria and Dave's house. And I was like, okay, here we go. So you all do that. You blow up the basement with which almost could have been really bad because you were like tripping on your way out of there, and could have like blown up down
and
there.
And didn't they get letters from like Dinthalia and stuff? Like there were some incriminating letters that connected people, right?
Yeah, that's where we found all the letters that had like signed by G and F.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
so
like TH or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you found and then the one from Raya's that was like, send me their blood along with it or something like that.
Oh, and some specimens
like,
or something.
Yeah, you're like, you little freak. So then everyone kind of comes back together at the longhouse, but they're all coming from like different directions. So like Ellis and Loomis are like, you all stopped in like the bakery, right, to be like, we're gonna grab some bread real quick.
For an alibi.
Yeah. Then you go back to the longhouse, and then Emil and Maria are kind of walking over, and then I knew I wanted Helena to be caught and brought into the town. But then I was like, I have no idea how this is gonna go. Like, some people are not liking Helena in the party, so like perhaps they're just gonna be like, okay, bye, Helena. Like, sucks for that to happen. And then like, on the other side, like Emil's kind of having this like, I feel like you're trying to find like where the high ground was that you could kind of like get on. And so it was like, does he take this sort of like savior sort of feeling of being like, no, we have to like stand up to all this right now and save Helena? And like, I definitely, there was a lot, like, I was not expecting it to go into like you having this conversation with Maria and kind of like urging her to like flip in a sense. And so ends up like Maria
that was a pretty cathartic moment, I feel like, where I was thinking what exactly what you just said, where Emil was like, how do I fix all of these problems all at once? And then quickly realizing we are overpowered, there's no way we can quote unquote succeed here and like defeat the bad guys here, we just need to go. But then also being like, it was very humanizing, the last conversation Emil had with Maria, I feel like, where she's clearly just caught up in this kind of over time, and semi-willingly, but that was a nice moment. And it's something that I think Emil thinks about often, I think, is what's gonna happen to Ursa Anore, this like beautiful community with all these Drees blood, that I just like fucking ruin it for everyone.
I guess we'll see.
Who knows?
We'll see. Maybe.
I remember feeling like specifically with the home and the B&E, the home invasion, that like I know that Alex felt. I think like it was a big kind of like analysis paralysis, like specifically for Ellis, about like there was never a doubt in my mind that like, oh, Loomis and I like sneaking into a house and doing this just like us two, because like up until that point, like there's been several moments where like Emil has like proven to be like at least like unconfident in himself in combat, and I was just like, oh, like me and Loomis though, like on a duo like stealth mish, like we got this, like we will absolutely crush this, which we kind of did. But I think Ellis was just so concerned about the like repercussions of that. Like he didn't want to pull the trigger because he didn't want to see the fallout from it all, while also like he didn't want to do it just because Nanoxus told him to. Like Nanoxus was like, you have to destroy the plant and you have to kill Maria and Dade. And I didn't just want to be like, okay, and do it. So it was just like I was like hesitant to pull the trigger, and I think it took like me/Ellis being like, no, this has to happen for like the good of the world, and like I don't have to kill Maria and Dade if I don't want to, but I will destroy the plant, and that's what we did, successfully. Duo tag team, me and Loomis.
Hell yeah!
Stealth mish.
I liked that just on this random episode, you just almost died. Just like casually almost died in this episode.
Decided to be like, let's go blow up this basement after all. Actually, oh shit.
It would have been really fucking like Emil just hears a big boom and it's just like Loomis covered in soot, and like Loomis is just like, Ellis died.
He's gone.
We have to move on.
Well, that's the Ursa Anore arc. We get a lot. We meet some Drees blood. We meet Maria and Dade. We meet Natasha. We learn about Atorum. We meet Helena. Lots happened in these 15 episodes, and I think that it's probably like the beginning of like, you know, the main part of our story, I feel like, is happening now. So cool arc.
Thanks for sticking around and getting this far.
Oh yes, thank you.
All right, thanks for joining us, everyone, for Dicey Deep Dive. Next we'll I don't know. Recap. What's the next arc even called? Surely we've already finished it. I don't even know.
Sad one. Sad arc.
It's just a
3-episode
arc where therapy. Group
Therapy arc.
All right, there's a little hint for you guys. All right, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.